my name's Kory. I go by MovieDude18 on Twitter and Instagram and all that social media nonsense. And I have to tell you guys, my favorite horror franchise of all time is the Chucky franchise. I don't know why, except I just remember going to Video Visions back home in Louisiana and renting the movie for 99 cents. And having to, be kind to rewind and then just watch it again and rent it. Before you know it, I had a $20 late fee for Child's Play 3. It's never not awesome to see Don or Jen or any of them, but to have him here and the editor, Randy Bricker, who definitely edited the most controversial Halloween 6, of all time. No, guys, I've loved these movies. I have many more stories about Seed because I was 14 when Seed came out. I was only 8 when Bride came out. And I kind of shot myself in the foot. My first R-rated movie ever in a theater was Halloween H2O, which to me is still, it's not the best, but it's my favorite Halloween. Maybe because it was the first movie I saw, first R-rated I saw. And I remember seeing the trailer for Bride, and I had seen all these R-rated movies, Child's Play and Friday, like on video. And there was no way in hell my mom and dad were going to let me go sit in a theater and watch Bride of Chucky, but I could watch it when it came out on video. And my sister, she's 17 years older than me, and so she's like, all right, we were at the county fair one day, and she's like, I'll take you to see Halloween H2O because I want to see it. My boyfriend does too. But you can't tell mom, you can't tell dad, because if you blow it, I'm not going to take you to Chucky because I'll take you to Chucky. And I opened my mouth and I blabbed about it at school, and their parents found out and I couldn't see Bride of Chucky. But I'm about to see Bride of Chucky, so I'm pretty excited about that. And then we're going to follow it up with a Q&A with Jennifer Tilly and Billy Boyd and David Kirschner and Randy Bricker and Don Mancini. I've been to the Chinese for 6 months. This is my favorite franchise. Don was an icon to me. I'm going to get more into that later. But I just want you guys to really have fun with this. Everyone on Facebook, my friend Martin, who helped make the trailer reel you're about to see. It's really labor of love. Brandon Oliver, Brandon Kappen, my roommate. Literally, I have friends playing security tonight and all that other stuff. And I do this for free. I do this because I love it, really. Yeah. And so I have some really cool, I spliced Seed of Chucky trailers onto Spider-Man 2 prints, and I got in trouble. But no, there's stuff like that I'll talk about later. But thank you to Batcave, if you're in the house. I know some of them are up there and some of you are right there for helping sponsor this. Guys, I just really want to watch this movie. Please cheer. Please say the line. Don't be on your phones, but I can tell you one thing. I love a good audience. A true classic never goes out of style. So, and definitely know that each time I get to do these things, I never take it for granted. Anyone else wearing the Chucky Converses? No? Wow, they're the only two. They're great. If you just start talking about Chucky on Facebook, randomly they offer them to you for $59.99. Yeah. It's true. It's creepy. I've gotten so many Chucky, save 10% on all your Chucky merchandise. I don't know how they track that. Makes me wonder about the world. But anyway, once again, I'm Kory. I'm going to give a little spill about Seed of Chucky. I talked about Bride of Chucky. I didn't get to see it in theaters. David and Randy heard it because I blabbed that my older sister took me to see Halloween H2O, which we played the trailer. And I blabbed, and they wouldn't take me to see Bride. But now I've seen it 3 times in a theater. I'm here at the Chinese. I first met Don and Jen back in 2008. I was 18. I wrote papers about this guy in middle school and high school, and he's turned out to be the great guy that you hope that someone like an actor or a writer would be. I fell into writing. I had no idea, and J Till to the Killer, which is our old Twitter, was just as sweet as you could ever ask for. And we all saw, we all watch these movies and we all see David Kirshner's name, and he never does these, and this is so cool. David Kirshner's here, And then there was this independent franchise from like 2001 to 2003 called like Lord of the Rings. And you only went out at midnight and then had to get up at school the next morning. It's 5 a.m, and those are not short movies. But Billy Boyd's here, the voice of Glenn and Glenda. And then, honestly, in a rare exception, this is my 38th event, and I've never had an editor, and editing is so important. I also think, especially in horror, which this is more of a horror comedy, but it's still horror. And so Randy's here. I'm a kid. I'm always going to be a kid, but to literally go to a Seed of Chucky screening when you're 18, you first move out to LA, and you're thinking, oh my God, Jennifer Tilly's going to be there. And you get there at noon, thinking there's going to be and someone did get here at 11 a.m. And so, to now be up here with you guys, this is not only an honor, but it's a dream come true. So, my one Seed of Chucky story that I wanted to tell you was the teaser trailer, which involved let's just say sperm in the eyeball. It was shipped with all the prints of Spider-Man 2, and I was a projectionist kid, and I grew up and I knew how to splice and run things that most people just looked at girls. I just looked at celluloid. I remember going to Chad, one of the managers, and saying, hey, it's a 30-second spot. I know it's not on the list to put onto the prints, but let's do it anyway. Please, come on, it's harmless. And so we put them on there, and it scared all the kids that went to Spider-Man, and the moms were complaining about sperm. And basically, I had to stay there till 6 o'clock. I was 15 years old, and I was 14 years old, and I had to take off every single trailer. But you know what? I've got 6 teaser trailers to Seed of Chucky on film. But okay, guys. So we're here. We're now. Don, I'm gonna start with you because you're the creator. You're the inventor. You've been there since day one. But so is David Kirschner. So this idea of Chucky, let's spiral out of Bride and Seed just for a minute. It was 1988, right? And you had.
It was actually 1985.
Oh wow. Okay.
Thank you.
Look how nice I am. I gave him my
By the way, David, your microphone is on the ground right there. It's really weird because this is Jen, but my boss is Jennifer, and someone apparently broke into her house. That is so weird. Yeah, it was really confusing. No, I got a phone call while I was in the line, and everyone was, and I was like, what do you mean, Jennifer, you're not coming? And everyone freaked.
And call you. I don't want my people to call and cancel. Hello? This is Jennifer. I'm not gonna make it. I'm shopping.
But there was a shocking face, and I was like, no, not Tilly, Esteban. And no, it's crazy, but you started out on Child's Play, and you and David, did you have any idea that you would lead? You're now entering your 7th movie. Did you have any idea? There was a lot of other horror puppet movies, Puppet Master and Dolls, that came later and before and all these other things. But did you have any idea that you would one day, Chucky would get married and have a kid and have this big old life?
No. I think I did not. I think I dreamed it. I was like you. I was a huge fan of the genre. I was very into Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th and Halloween. And so, I was very influenced by those franchises and, of course, dreamed of being involved with one. But, you don't practically think that something like that is going to happen. But that's why it was so fortuitous that I met David.
How old were you when you first wrote your first Chucky movie?
12.
Well, my first Chucky movie, I was 21. How old were you when you wrote?
A prodigy. When I made my first Chucky movie, I was a little bit younger than Katherine Heigl, but I aged very well.
I heard. What? I heard there was like some kind of interesting reaction to Katherine Heigl in the screening tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, I remember this isn't my first time with Don and Jen up here, but I can tell you that Katherine Heigl gets a very interesting response every time I watch this movie.
What was it?
Well, she's unforgettable.
No, I mean, what was the response? What
Literally,
happened?
she's walking down the stairs and she's ready for her date with the figure skater. And there was one lady who was like, woo! And
that was probably her mom. No, I didn't even mean that in a bad way. I mean, her.
Yes, you
know,
did.
No, I didn't. Her mom is her manager and her best friend. And
Her mom, didn't you say her mom helped with all the costumes? Like, she always wanted her to wear a scarf around her neck for some reason?
I do remember she was very protective about what Katherine wore, particularly
She didn't want
in
her
that
to be
scene with
too
Nick.
sexy.
Right,
Yeah.
that is true.
And
Times have changed.
yes, yes.
well, there's called desperation, so.
And then you might recognize Nick Stabile that played the boyfriend.
Yes, I love
He
Nick.
was in
at
the
last
first
one.
season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and he played Camille's sexy tennis partner. It's a reality show, but he said to me, "Oh, I was playing a part. I was acting like, you know." He said, we were saying, wouldn't it be funny if we did a little pretend scene like we're having an affair? So I have to say, I was very shocked to see him in a reality show. So anyway, I was just going to say, because I'm the moderator now. When you were 21 years old and you brought your script to David Kirschner, were you very intimidated by him?
And David, what was the first time you met Don? Because Don's been here for 7 films. You've been here for 7 films. Jennifer came in. Randy came in. Billy came in. But you two are OG. Like, you know, what was the first meeting with Don or Don with you or anything?
I'm going to have to turn this over to you because was it at UA?
It was at Disney.
It was. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, David had an office at Disney at the time, and I don't think it was literally my first meeting, but it was like one of the first 3 meetings I ever had as a professional screenwriter. And so the script had made the rounds already, and pretty much everyone had passed on it. And then I heard from my agent that the producer of An American Tail was interested, and I went, "Oh, I love that." So I went to his office at Disney, and he showed me around the lot. That was my first time ever on a studio lot. As I recall, you showed me some of the places where they shot Something Wicked This Way Comes. I think
that was on the back lot there when that existed.
Yeah. And he goes, "So, I'm interested in working together." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I think that would be fun."
You're like, Chucky, I think it could be a Disney film.
So that was the first meeting, and then but shortly after that, we had a meeting at your house in Hancock Park
with Tom Holland.
Spider-Man?
He's multi-talented, multi-hyphenate Tom Holland. Yeah, and that was very exciting to me as well, because I had been a fan of Fright Night, which I think is the anniversary is today.
It is, no.
Today or yesterday?
Tom posted on Facebook there was an old billboard shot from the 80s.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it's my baby's 32nd birthday or something. Yeah. So Fright Night and Psycho 2 and Cloak and Dagger, I loved a lot of his work, so I was very excited. But if you talk to Tom Holland now, he doesn't remember meeting me. It's a lot more memorable for me than it was for him.
Well, that goes over to Jen, because I'm a writer, and it wasn't my destined path, but I love it. It's what I ended up doing. But you've got 120 IMDb credits. You've gone on all these other things. Before you met Don, how did Chucky fall into your lap? How did that become a part of your career?
All right, when Chucky fell in my lap, I had some sort of idea that I was going to be the next Cate Blanchett. But I always had a hard-on to do major motion pictures because, everybody knows that's where the money is and the stardom and everything. So my agent called up and he said, "Jennifer, I have a movie for you. It's a starring role in a major motion picture." And, of course, I got very excited. And then I go, "What's it about?" And he goes, well, it's about this little doll. And I went, a Chucky movie! I'm not doing any Chucky movies! And I'd never seen a Chucky movie, but I somehow thought that, you know, actresses that were going on the way to superstardom did not do Chucky movies. And I had never read one. And then he said, just, you know, we'll send you the script. And they sent the script, and it was really, really, really good. And they said, Ronnie was directing, and I knew him from all the Hong Kong movies. And then I met David at the Bel Air Hotel. He paid for lunch, which was really impressed me. And he had the Chucky doll in the trunk of his car. And then he said that that they wanted me. They said the studio wanted this actress from Baywatch. But they really saw me in the role, and I thought I was very impressed with their acumen, and I felt like they had really good taste, that they really wanted me. In fact, Don said when he was writing it, he kept hearing my voice in his head. And so eventually I came around, and one of the reasons why I did is because a friend of mine, Gina Gershon, said...
Showgirls.
She goes, oh my God, you're crazy. I would love to have a franchise. I would love to do the Chucky movie. And I think she was right next on the list or something. There was a time when Gina and I did a movie called Bound together.
Woo!
Where we were both equally talented and equally naked. And then there was a period of time when everywhere I would go to an audition, she'd be coming out or I'd be going in. And, you know, in fact, I was up for Face Off, which Gina got. And there was a time when Joel Schumacher wanted us to be Sugar and Spice in Batman, in that one Batman movie. So we sort of, anyway, when she said that she wanted to do the Chucky movie, I was like, of course, well, you can't do it because I'm doing it. So that was the end of it.
Actually another wrinkle to that story, which I think you know.
Yes.
Which is that my friend Mike Werb, who's here, who wrote Face Off,
right,
obviously knew Gina Gershon.
Right.
And I forget how this idea got cooked up, but I'm like saying, we're trying to get Jennifer Tilly star in the movie, and she's kind of on the fence, and I don't remember the exact steps, but somehow
I just wanted more money.
This somehow led to me meeting Gina.
What?
And we screened The
told
Bride with White Hair. I don't know if she was at Gersh. I was at Gersh at the time.
All right. Yes.
Anyway, we screened Ronnie Yu's film The Bride with White Hair for Gina, and because we knew that was going to impress her because it's an amazing movie, and she goes, oh well, maybe I'm going to give this some thought, but I'm like thinking, oh, this is going to leverage it, and Jennifer's not going to be able to take it, and then she's going to sign on, and she did.
And I did.
Thank you, Mike.
Right. Yes.
Well, okay. So you signed on to the film, and as I was speaking of writers, I hear all the time, and I'm not looking forward to it as a filmmaker going in, that the writers get the shaft a lot. You know, we get treated, we're outside when production begins and all that stuff. But to Jen and Don, how did this start? I went to a Child's Play 2 screening. I don't remember his name, but the director of that film.
John LaFia.
Yeah, John LaFia. And it seems like you've done a really good job of becoming friends with the director to make sure you're on set. But
all but the first one.
All but the first one. But what was that like when Jen, like the screenwriter, walks in the room? Because I hear I've never experienced it, but that's not normal. The writer.
Well, I mean, a lot of that's because of David. I mean, David has from the beginning was very kind to me, and just taught me a lot. He invited me into the process, and it's very unusual in this business for that kind of loyalty, and always appreciated that, and I hope he hasn't regretted it.
I think seven movies.
I would be on this set, and I would say a line the way that I thought it sounded really good, and then I'd hear a little voice in the corner going, Jennifer, actually the line is, where are you going, sweet face? And I'd say, well, I didn't know, I said, sweetie pie or whatever. I think that's perfectly fine. And he's like, no, it's not. And I'd be like, who are you? Who let the writer on the set? Because it was so unusual. And then I started to realize that Don had unprecedented power. And then now I suck up to Don all the time because my job security is in his hands. Like, we just finished doing the 4th Chucky movie, and
wait a minute. I love how in Jennifer's cosmos it's the 4th Chucky movie, because the first 3 don't exist, and to this day she has not seen them.
Well, I've seen pieces of them while I'm switching the channel looking for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm like, wait, that doll looks familiar. Oh, speaking of which, did you all recognize Glinda at the end of the movie? I know his face was covered with blood, but it was the fabulous Billy Boyd being born. But that actually wasn't Billy's voice because we hadn't cast him yet. Now, you see, I'm part of the production. But Don actually helped direct that segment, and he said that they put a pig squealing in place for his voice. Yes, so, you're Billy Boyd actor. You're incredibly talented. But you can be substituted for a squealing pig that doesn't really need to get paid at all. Billy, say something to the audience. I have to say, for years and years and years, Don and I entertained ourselves imitating him. We go, Mommy, stop it, Mommy. You'll wrinkle me dress. But I'm sure you can say it better. Say it the way you say it.
Oh, God. Right.
Stop it, Mommy.
Oh, Mummy, stop it, Mummy. You'll wrinkle my dress.
That's been a while.
Wait, Billy, tell them about your major influence for that character.
God.
Well, Don, when he asked me to do it, said he wanted it, Glenn, to be like a Dickensian, a kind of character, a sort of Oliver Twist sort of idea, which I really loved. But I thought, well, when it's Glenda, it should be something different. And I just watched Secrets and Lies, the Mike Leigh movie, and Brenda Blethyn I thought was brilliant in it. And Glenda kind of have a bit of Brenda Blethyn in it.
In Secrets and Lies, Brenda Blethyn has a line where she goes, "Oh, can I top you off, sweetheart?" and you said, "Sweet,
Have you got a
sweetheart,
cigarette?
sweetheart." when we recorded Billy's dialogue in London.
How many days, by the way, was your
It was
dialogue?
like 3.
Yeah, it was like
For
3
for
days.
Seed, it was
something-
only
something-
3 days?
No, 3 days for him, and then it was also like 3 or 4 for Brad. Brad and Jen were together, but then Billy was separate in London. But I remember initially I was in the booth with you to direct you, but I just was dying laughing all the time, and so I had to flee.
Yeah, it was good fun. I remember
was
that.
really
it was
fun.
really
Yeah.
fun. I actually did a movie with Brenda after that, but I never told her.
Oh, you must.
Yeah.
No, Billy, like, obviously you come off of LOTR, but, like, the thing that
Is
I've
that how the
noticed-
cool kids, what they call it?
that's,
LOT?
I don't know, when I was in 6th grade, we just called it LOTR, and everyone had a ring. No, like, this has become a family that just keeps growing and growing and growing, and I love that. Jen's added, Billy's added, who else is added? But were you a fan of the Chucky films? Had
Yeah.
you seen, you were a super fan?
Yeah, I got the different, complete opposite from yours. My agent said they want you to do a Chucky movie. And I said, yeah, let's do that. I didn't even read it or anything. I was like, I want to be in a Chucky movie, yeah. That'd be cool. So, yeah. And then when I read it, I just thought it was, it'd taken another sort of twist that I thought was really funny and really kind of interesting and really nice writing. So.
Well, that's definitely the thing about Seed of Chucky is Bride takes a left turn semi, and then Seed takes a really big left turn. And I want to talk to David a little bit about Bride and Seed. Like, it had been 1991 was, I believe, the last time we saw Chucky, and then 7 years later, we switched into Bride, which is a little bit more humorous, a little bit more goofy, but still scary and fun. And Ronnie, you did an absolute amazing job at directing this. But what, as a producer, you're the one that's kind of like looking at the finances and stuff. What was it like to feel of the left turn of Bride and then the U-turn that Seed of Chucky did?
I think it's such a testament to Don that he could go from creating a horror franchise with 3 really successful films and then turn it into something that's what we saw tonight, such a funny comedy. And I mean, it is rare that there's a relationship between a producer and writer, and Don is now director and now executive producer. The fact that we've had this 30-year friendship, and
It's amazing, by the way.
I'm sorry?
That's amazing, by the way.
Yeah, no, it is. It's something I think we're both really proud of. Tony Gardner, who took over for Kevin Yeager, I don't know how many years ago. How many years ago, Don?
Well, 2004.
Okay. His daughter just did a beautiful 7-minute short as her thesis for film school out of Florida, and it's called The Dollhouse, and it's just the relationship between the group of people that have made this movie, and it's so touching in 7 minutes, and it will be on the. I'm not sure if I'm saying something I shouldn't, but it'll be on the new film. But it's a beautiful piece, and I think Don's going to be premiering that in London as well.
Yeah, when we have the world premiere of Cult of Chucky next month. Not this month, in August. But they're going to show
August.
The Dollhouse.
It's August.
It's August.
Yeah.
It's all a blur.
August
This
3rd.
year has been a blur.
I mean, it's amazing. It's a 1,500 person theater, sold out within minutes, and Don will be there and obviously premiering the movie and premiering this sweet little 7-minute piece.
I can't lie. I asked my parents for money to go to London. I said, I don't even need a hotel. Just fly me in. I get there by 4. I'll leave it a red eye. And they said no.
It'll be worth it.
So, now to Randy, you're the editor of Bride. Before we switch over to Seed and then talk about the franchise as a whole, you're no stranger to editing horror. I even mentioned earlier. You want to see The Roommate? That like really slutty PG-13 like horror movie. I love that movie, but no, what is it?
I like it too.
No, I love it. I mean,
Thank you.
you're welcome. No, what was it like coming into like a franchise and a family that was already kind of built, but it was growing? And did you work with Don? Did you work with David? What was the editing process like? Because I think it's like a 10 out of 10 film. I think Bride is my favorite by far. I think it's perfect. I wouldn't change a single line. So
I agree.
You agree?
Cult.
Oh, no,
Yes.
that's right. Oh, yeah, you edited the new one. Okay.
I did.
How many days did it take you to edit the new one, actually?
3.
What?
Virtually. I was barely more than 3. We
We had a little more time than that. I mean, you never get enough time in editorial because you always want to improve something or make it better. But I will say that when David and Don invited me on to Bride of Chucky, they were just very welcoming and wanted to hear all the ideas I had and all my input. And that was a lot of fun. And they were a lot of fun too. I mean, it was a pleasure to work with them, and it's been a pleasure again on Cult of Chucky.
I do want to drop one thing in there, and that is that, I mean, we were in pretty desperate straits because Ronnie went back to Australia. Don and I were truly in tears, over what we had. We knew we had the pieces there, but it's when Randy came in and worked really, really closely, especially with Don, and just shaped this whole thing, and it just, the tests on it were incredible. Universal was beside themselves. And after, after The Mummy that came out that year, we were the second highest grossing film for Universal, something that they really wanted no part of this. And yet it was so profitable because it was made for such little money. Anyway, I want to give that back and give you the credit you deserve on that.
Thank you.
Randy, when I think of Bride of Chucky, the scene that is so beautifully edited is where I'm taking the bath, and then Chucky's coming down the hall, and then you have the Bride of Frankenstein on the screen,
Right.
and then with the bath, it falls in the bubbles, and the Chucky's like so happy. Just the editing on that is so beautiful. It's like, it's amazing, like the suspense, and it's sort of horrifying, and it's kind of funny. I mean, it's
Randy,
yes, it's beautiful.
tell Jennifer and everyone your favorite moment of that sequence.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
The curtain, the plastic.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes.
So there's a part where Chucky has finally gotten out of his cage, and he's dragging the doll behind him, and there's a semi-transparent curtain between Chucky and the bathing beauty in the other room, and Chucky kind of presses his face against it, and then Brad did this great thing in ADR where he just kind of does. Yeah.
And so when we were doing the new one, Randy and I were talking about this. It's like we should do that again, and we commenced to find like 15 different places in Cult of Chucky where we did that, and
they were all hilarious.
And they were all hilarious, but we cut them all but one.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
Then
there is one.
We finally look at the whole movie together, and it's like, holy, we put like 15 of these in here.
15 moments of.
That scene that Jennifer was speaking of and that Randy was discussing as well, that scene was in Don's first original when he was 21 in his script, and there were all these like little treasures that were buried in that script that would then be used over the course of years, that Don would say, you know what, I always like this, let's look at this again. And that sequence was there from the beginning. It
was in the babysitter's death from
Yes.
from the first one. It was the babysitter took, after putting the kid to bed,
I didn't
she
see that.
gets in the bubble bath, and I just, when I wrote it, I remember it was just the idea of like a surge of electricity causing these wafting bubbles in the air, and as I'm like, can I get away with that? That wouldn't happen in real life. And I think I was taking my first steps into what I didn't understand at the time was kind of stylization, and that it was like that. It's just such a weird spectral image, but it's so much better
It's
for
so
Jennifer
beautiful.
Tilly to die.
Oh,
in that
for
way.
sure it is. And
If
Jennifer,
Jennifer Tilly has to die in the back.
how many
You guys-
takes did you
Bubble.
take when you dumped?
Well,
'Cause
you
were
know,
such a good
I didn't
sport.
do a lot of takes because I think I was only on the movie for 1 week, and every
3.
extra day, 3 weeks. Wow, I barely goes. But every extra day was like, so they had a body double come in, and I mean that was my body, but the overhead shot I think is somebody else. And so I remember I was very nervous that day because I had a terrible migraine, and Chucky was walking around. Like, I started to think of him as a real person because the puppeteers were always practicing. And so, like, in between shots, instead of lying down, he'd walk over and he'd stick his finger in the food at the craft service and he'd scratch his butt. So I'm in the bathtub and no one's paying attention, and he comes over and he's got his hands and he's like doing this and he's like, and I was like, oh my God, hello, and nobody ever listens to me on the set. Is Chucky plugged in somewhere? Like, I thought that would be such a horrible coda to my career that art imitates life, and I actually am electrocuted by Chucky on the set. But I guess I don't know how he works, but there's wires that go everywhere, and they're all leading to puppeteers who are doing weird things. Like that one particular scene with Alexis Arquette. He came.
Which tonight is dedicated to her.
We
by the way.
love Alexis. I was so hot for Alexis, and he wouldn't have anything to do with me. He had this little secret life, and it seemed so much more exciting than what I was doing. I'd be like, Alexis, where are you going? I'd be like, he'd go, I'm going to a club, and I'd be like, can I come? Like, I didn't know he was a drag queen. He's like, no, you cannot. And then he'd just grab one of the wigs from the wardrobe people, the costume people, and he'd take off.
I want to ask you and Billy together, because you started doing ADR with Brad. Brad's not here. He lives in New York. He wanted to be here. But what were those sessions like? I mean, was he super
Well, I had
improv-
never done it.
improv?
I'd never done cartoon voices before, oddly enough, or, plastic doll voices. And I went in, I met Brad. He's an Oscar award-winning actor. He's brilliant.
You're
And-
a nominee.
Yes.
Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, yes, I am. But, thank you. But everyone knows me from Chucky. So, thanks, Don. So, anyway, I think Don's the one that had the idea that we should be able to be doing, usually I do Family Guy, and I've never seen any of the other actors. I don't know if it's in their contract, like, keep Jennifer away from me. But usually you don't see the other actors, and Don thought that we would have some more of an emotional rapport if we were doing our lines together like a radio play. And so he set up that we were both in booths, but we were facing each other so we could overlap and we could improvise. And it was really kind of amazing because, like, some of the lines, like where I said, this is my idea, where I said, wait, Chucky, do you have a rubber? I'll say it like Tiffany. Wait, Chucky, do you have a rubber? And he's like, do I have a rubber? Look at me, baby. I'm all rubber. And she should never have listened to him because, as often happens, unprotected sex leads to unwanted pregnancy. You would never exist if we hadn't had sex without a rubber.
Well.
But anyway, the last scene, actually, and I teared up watching it, where I say we belong dead. I looked at him, and he was crying, and I was crying. We were both crying. So I think you really feel the emotion, the love that they have for each other, and also the intense hatred. So I think that was because of Don's idea that we both, work together as a couple.
Well, actually, I think it was David's idea because
it's David's idea.
David has, had
I'm
done a lot of
sucking up to Don because he's writing the next Chucky movie, and like I said, job security. Billy, I wonder if you could say something about how difficult it is to do voice-over acting.
I would love to, thank you. No, you actually had recordings of Jennifer and Brad.
And we had it for you, yeah.
Yeah, so although it was just me and you, that I could hear the other voices, and we just messed around with that. And you also had pictures of what Glenn was going to look like, although we didn't have the... did you have the whole thing then?
Well, you
I think we had Dave, for every movie, David, puts together the concept, look, and these really beautiful illustrations. So I think we had Glenn.
Yeah, we definitely had the look, but I can't remember if the actual doll was there.
No, I don't think the doll was there. I think we had David's illustration.
What point were you actually brought on with Seed? Were you brought on in pre-production, during filming, post-production? I mean, if 3 days, that to me that surprises me. I thought at least 6 or 7.
I'm not sure actually. I don't know.
Pre-production, because you do it like an animated movie, and this is getting back to this why that was David's idea, is because David has done a lot of animated movies, and he knows that's
Cats Don't Dance
and Five-O. It's just the best. If you can do it, it's the best way to get a performance, especially since Chucky and Tiffany had to be a double act. And, you needed to have that chemistry. If we had had our druthers, I would have had Billy in the mix as well. But I think we didn't cast Billy until a little bit after we had done that recording, I think.
David, you really care about the Glenn Quinta? Like, no, go, say stuff. But I think that, you'll see, those of you who stick around for Seed of Chucky, Glenn Glinda is a really beautiful, mixed up character. And actually, we just had Gay Pride, and, he's sort of a gay icon because he was probably the first representation of the trans community on screen. And because
in horror, which is rare.
What?
And in horror, especially, that's rare.
Yeah, but he's a beautiful child. He's just insane, and he. Yeah. Well, Tiffany, I would say Tiffany and Chucky are not very good parenting. They don't have a very good parenting style. Do the beginning where you say, I don't remember much. Like, do you remember the beginning of the movie, what you say? The Dickensian, I don't remember much. That's all I remember.
I don't know if I'm a boy or a girl.
I do know I'm Japanese.
David, one of the really exciting reasons why I've always wanted to meet you was because you, as you see in the credits, you created the Tiffany doll and other dolls and Chucky. As a producer of film and then creator of that, what was that process like when you first? Because Tiffany looks very different in Bride than she does in Seed.
Tiffany never looks good, and I've always complained about this. When I first did Chucky has like 32 muscles in his face, and Tiffany has 16. And then Tiffany goes to Hollywood, and she gets a facelift, and I'm so excited, she looks even worse. She's like Bride of Wildenstein. No, but Chucky. Okay. No, but Chucky is adorable. Even when he's stable together, he has that cute little boy face, and Tiffany looks about 30 years older than Chucky, right? Am I right? Poor Tiffany. She does what she can with makeup and showing her boobs, but she is not as adorable as Chucky.
I think Tiffany became significantly more expressive in Seed of Chucky because the scene that frustrated David and me the most in Bride is that scene in the camper when she when she starts throwing the dishes because she just she
The one expression. This is
well
what
she's
she
just
does.
demonstrably
She does this.
she's just demonstrably a puppet on a stick and just stuck into the wall and she's kind of like
Tiffany
going
throwing
like
the
this.
dishes. He's like, hey, wash the dishes. I'm like, can you give me more expressions? I'm an Oscar-nominated actress, for God's sake.
I love. And I love how the seat of Chucky trailer says starring Academy Award nominee Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah.
But no, David, going into creating these dolls, what was it? I mean, where did you begin? Where did you start? How long was the
I
process?
mean, it really starts with Don. I mean, he had a description in his script as to what it looked like. There was a toy that was really popular called My Buddy, and we just kind of took from
Not
there.
the Cabbage Patch Dolls. You can't say that, right? Wasn't the Cabbage
No,
Patch
it was
Dolls?
around the same time, but it was
Oh.
a doll for boys called My Buddy.
Oh dear.
And
I mean, the idea was that it was just archetypal in a way that in fairy tales, red hair usually means evil in life too, and so so we knew that like it's like Howdy Doody, it's just there's almost I'd say archetypal, but in a way it's generic, isn't it? I mean, which was the point because it's meant for mass marketing.
And what was so interesting in Don's script was the idea that Madison Avenue, Don's dad had been in advertising, which went into Don's genes because all the great taglines of the film, including the new one, Don has written, and they're so funny and great and witty. But it was really an element of. I remember Don saying this, that Madison Avenue had programmed a doll for your child, which is really scary. And that was really appealing to me. My wife and I had been in London, and I bought a book called The Victorian Dollhouse Murders. I had seen Talking Tina. And when I came back, I said to my development person, I would love to do a killer doll movie. And she said there was actually a screenplay that had been around. And I read that, and I fell in love with that. And I guess that's when Don came over to Disney. And we met that day. But from the beginning of time, there have been stories of dolls that have been brought to life, and Don had done it in a way that had not been done since Talking Tina. And so it really appealed to me. To answer the question the same way, I would have never dreamed that 30 years later we'd be here. It was a movie that I was excited to make, and that was really it.
Well, before I turn it over to the audience, I have one more question for Randy. It's true. You edited Bride, and then you didn't edit Seed, and you didn't edit Curse. But what brought you back to do Cult? What was in the family or in the genes that brought you back to the franchise?
Well, Don called me and said, "Hey, you want to do this movie?" And I said, "Is it with you and David?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "I'm in." Actually, Seed was David and Don can talk about the origins of that. I know they wanted me to do that, and that ended up getting delayed, and then...
And we ended up doing it. It was technically an English film. It was a UK film, and we were obliged, our crew had to be English.
We had to cast
It was Romania, right?
Well, we shot...
We needed an English person.
That's not why we cast.
Close.
So all of our department heads had to be English. So we had to work with this guy, Chris Dickens, who went on to win an Oscar for Slumdog Millionaire. So we're waiting for Randy to he's going to win his Oscar next.
Yeah, so
gonna happen
I'm
for
waiting
Cult.
too. Thank you.
All right, I'm about to turn it over to the audience, but there was something that happened earlier, and there's a surprise for one of you sitting in the audience. I talked about how at Seed of Chucky, a retro screening, almost 10 years ago, I got there first in line, and I've always been the first in line because I want to get the best seat, and I always think there's going to be some great prize or great moment I'll get from it. And I've never done this in 38 events, but there's a little girl named Lucy in here. She's sitting right there, and she was the first person in line today. Wow. And so I want her to come up here. And she actually, out of all the dolls, she brought Glenn. And so
I don't have a Glenn
I
doll.
told her dad that I would maybe
What?
do this. And you have a Sharpie, sweetheart?
Sweetheart.
And you do have a Sharpie. And I think whoever you want to sign that, they'll sign it for you right now.
We should put Made in Japan here.
It is, yeah.
the
You have to
Scottish
double check the hands.
Billy's native Scottish accent adds a whole other layer of fun to it, I think.
Maybe we should have a Scottish.
I know. My mind is already racing ahead.
No, but that's really cool. Give it up. Like she actually, she told me. Huh, what was that? No. I asked her dad. I was like, has she seen this movie or is she fans? And she actually went to a Blondie concert just because she watched this movie so much that she loves the Blondie song and film.
Debbie and Harry dressed as Tiffany last Halloween.
Yes.
Everybody should sign it, right?
Can I have a couple of friends in the audience who are huge Billy Boyd fans, so I'm just going to make a very brief introduction. Angel, are you here? Where?
Over there.
Okay, this is my friend Angel, who is my fellow Channel Zero writer. She loves you.
I want to know about that.
Angel, Billy, Angel.
Hello.
And,
No, how is that going? You've been on 2 seasons of Channel Zero now, and you were on Hannibal, which was shortly lived, right? But no, you're on this thing with Sci-Fi now and Channel Zero. And where does that fit into your Chucky world and all of that other stuff?
Well, it all shoots in Winnipeg because we love Winnipeg.
He loves
We've done
Winnipeg.
Two Chucky movies and several seasons of Channel Zero in Winnipeg. Angel and I do work for Nick Antosca, who is the creator and showrunner of Channel Zero, and we sort of sold him on Winnipeg.
Want to get a picture? Is your mom
Yes.
with the camera? Do you want to come up closer, or we can
Hang on.
come up closer? Get a picture.
Emma, I'm not forgetting.
Right.
This is Lucy's dad.
Oh, Lucy's dad is here. Oh, nice. Am I a bad light? I am all right.
Oh, zoom in. Record. All right, let's do this. 1, 2.
Did you get Don in the picture?
I did.
Okay.
Yes, he looked
Sort of leaning out.
I didn't know if I was wanted.
Thank you. Did the movie scare you? No? No, it didn't
What's your favorite Chucky? What I think you've seen him.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, give me 5. Thank you for being the first person here. You made my week.
Okay, and I have to introduce Emma Cutsalio, Billy Boyd. Emma. She loves you.
No, but we're okay. One last question. Speaking of Channel Zero, Hannibal, and other things, it feels like honestly you were in the Chucky world solely for so long, and I'm just being honest. But the thing is you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. It's a good world to be in because I fucking love it. So, but here's the deal: you've done Curse of Chucky. You've done 3 in a row that you've directed. But Channel Zero and Hannibal, where do you see yourself as a writer now that you've definitely proven yourself as a producer, as a director, and so many other things? Are there any other shows that you would love to be a part of? Is there any other things that you would love to take on?
You
are
mean
there
like
other scripts
existing
Yes,
TV
absolutely.
shows? Fuck yeah. I have to think about that. I would have
Lisa.
wanted to write for Penny Dreadful.
That would have been a good one. You would have blended well.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that. There's a lot.
All right, we'll come back. All right, raise your hand if you have a question. That would be yes,
Oh,
you
how's
right there.
question?
Right there. Yes.
Oh.
I'll come to you second, homie. 2 microphones.
Thank you.
Ooh, I think I know the answer.
Well, all right, Bride of Chucky. I love the costumer. She did a great job. We had this idea that she would be very goth. But I always bring an emergency suitcase full of clothes because I have a very tricky figure. So, I need a lot of support and a lot of this and that. And actually, some of the clothes I wore in Bride of Chucky are my own. Like when I'm getting Nick to drag the suitcase down the steps, I am wearing my own Eduardo Lucero dress and my own crystal-studded Gucci shoes that cost $1,200. And Swarovski crystal. And then I read, I Google myself from time to time, and then I read my name, and the costumer goes, "Oh, these Hollywood people. I mean, she's playing a girl in a trailer park, and she wanted to wear her Gucci shoes." And I was like, well, nobody knows that they're Gucci, but it makes me feel better.
Is that Katherine Heigl?
So, but yes, I do have input into things like that. The second Chucky movie, See the Chucky. Yes, I wore a lot of my own clothes because I was playing myself, the fabulous Miss Jennifer Tilly. And then, of course, we did some, I hope that we did some knockoffs of some Romanian knockoffs of some Versace dresses because there's a white dress that gets covered with blood and we needed like 3 or 4 of them. And yes, I did wear a lot of my own clothes in that. The third Chucky, Curse of Chucky. Okay. Right. We had a really great wardrober up in Canada, and she came up with all the fox skins and the sexy little trinkets. And I think the only thing I wore there was my own Christian Louboutin shoes. The last movie, all right, Miss Tilly had many, many ideas. I'm supposed to be, I don't know if I should give anything away, but I'm supposed to be...
Don, shut up.
All right, I'm supposed to be still hot. And so I was like, wow, this is getting harder and harder. And actually, before I signed on, I pleaded with Dawn if they could spring for a little extra money for a special light, the little lantern that makes everybody look good. And so I came with not 1 suitcase of clothes, but 2 suitcases of clothes. And I ended up not wearing any of it. I wore 1 pair of shoes. And that's because Dawn had this idea that Tiffany was classy now. And I don't have any classy clothes. So the last movie, I'm not wearing anything of mine. I'm wearing classy stuff. So, but thank you for that.
She's very in the new movie. She's like a cross between Tippi Hedren and Cate Blanchett in Carol. Those were the 2 style inspirations because we felt
to be Cate Blanchett.
Exactly. But I just felt like it's always important to David and I that we do something different with every movie, including aesthetically. And so we were just trying.
I built my career over playing the same character over and over and over again.
But we had to evolve her style. So
yes, and you know what? I love Don, and anything, I always sort of adhere to his vision. Ultimately, Don is the director and the creator, and he's a brilliant man, and there's a reason why Chucky has endured, and people are insane about Chucky after 30 years. So, sometimes I do a little thing like Don is really annoying, but I'm just joking. He's not really annoying.
Really quick, Jennifer.
Yes.
You travel around the world. If you follow you on Instagram and Twitter,
yes.
you don't follow
These
yourself.
movies are really just very expensive fodder for her Instagram feed.
Well, exactly, but no.
Actually,
what
on
are
the last
fans around
movie,
the
he
world?
had to say to me, Jennifer, I know your Instagram is very important, but can you put your phone down for a minute so we can film the actual movie?
We're just walking across the street coming over here. Billy got a taste of this.
Yes, well,
we waylaid several bystanders to take pictures, lots of pictures.
we must document this auspicious occasion.
We have a movie to promote.
Yes.
But you are premiering Cult in London. So
Yes.
what is the worldwide fan base for Chucky? Is it bigger outside the
I
US,
get
or?
off the plane. I travel a lot for my poker now. And I get off the plane in these little countries that I didn't even know existed, that I couldn't even pronounce the name. And they know no English except for one word, and that word is Chucky. And I'll get off the plane like this, like, where am I? And all of a sudden I hear, Chucky! If they know one other word, they know hug. After they ascertain that I'm from the Chucky movie, they always want to hug.
And picture.
And no, not necessarily these places. You know, there's places where people do not have cell phones. Yeah, but apparently they have pirated copies of the Chucky movie.
Yeah, you behind the light. Yeah.
I want to ask Jennifer. I don't think anybody here can see Tiffany as other than Jennifer, so maybe you can tell us if you see anybody else except Gina.
Why? I'm never going to be like that guy in the Muppets that is replaced. I will never give Dawn and David ideas about who could do an equally well job as me. And I'm not going to say better job than me because that's impossible. But I really think, but I would say that Gina does a very good Jennifer Tilly imitation. Here's her imitation. She said when we were doing Bound, you know, the sex scene, she said in between us talking about the sale at Barney's. So she said, because we'd have discussions, I'd be like, can you hold my breast up like this to make it more plump? And she's like, all right, if you can put your other hand on my thigh to cover up my non-existent cellulite. And then she said after each scene where apparently it was a closed set, but everybody was clustered around the monitors, she said I would roll over and I'd be like, Gina, there's a big sale on shoes at Barney's. Do you want to go later on and maybe we can buy something with our per diem? So that's me doing Gina's imitation of me.
Yes, my roommate Brandon.
I love redheads. I love redheads. I love the color red, obviously.
That was a great question. I'll give you shit at home.
I want Billy to say something else because Billy, we haven't seen him in years and years, and he came all the way out. Say something else, Billy.
What is Billy? Billy, what is the fandom for you with Chucky? I mean, you've gone on to be, you've done this huge billion-dollar franchise, but how often, what do you get with Chucky? Because you're Glenn, you're their kid.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I've been quite, I'm just blown away by Jennifer. Listening to all these stories, I'm still 10 minutes back. No, yeah, people really like Chucky, yeah. That's what I've found. I have found that people do like it.
Are you like Jen here, who will return forever if asked?
Yes.
There we go. You right there in the red shirt. Or black red.
Thank you, Kory, for putting on the event.
Thank you.
We drove up from the Bay Area here, so
Yeah.
very happy to be here. We love the Chucky franchise. We love you, Dawn.
Thank you.
We love you, Jennifer, since Moving Violations.
I've loved you since House Arrest.
That was one of Moving Violations, Quentin Tarantino. That was one of his favorite movies.
I love that movie still. We need it on Blu-ray.
Thank you.
We need House Arrest on Blu-ray.
House Arrest.
Jennifer Love Hewitt, she's my boo.
Yeah, she was my daughter in the movie.
All right, yeah, you right there in the black shirt.
Oh, yes, do you have a question?
I'm sorry. Thank
Did
you
you
for
see-
complimenting me, though.
Did you see Peaches Christ show about Chucky when you were in the Bay Area? Peaches Christ, he's a drag
Peaches
queen,
Christ
and
is
he did a whole
amazing.
Chucky show. He dressed up like a giant Chucky doll.
She does
They had
events with New York every once in a while.
in the Castro Theater that we got to watch Seed of Chucky with the entire theater full of drag queens.
A
It was
musical
awesome.
drag
Oh my God,
queen
I'd kill to
version
be
of
there.
Chucky. Anyway, what was your question?
Also, would you please side note, coming to the Bay Area? Would you have any plans for that? We'd love to have you as a screening up there. Would be amazing.
We go where Universal says to go, and once in a while, Don breaks free and he does some stuff for his friend here, and then and that's why we're here tonight.
Everyone's being.
Okay, also, Don, we're so happy that you're part of this franchise. You kept it going. Are you at liberty to maybe the remake, and if you were maybe happy that it didn't happen?
That's a good question. I was going to ask that because then there'd be no Jen again. I think if there was a MGM Universal remake, that was what they talked about in 2008 when Kory was there. And I remember you were saying certain things, and she was looking at you, and she was like, "Don't say it, don't say it." What if? How close was there to a complete remake, theatrical? And what was that like for you, David?
I was
going
gonna let you take that one. I don't know. Not that close, probably. I mean, we talked about
failure in it. What was?
David, tell me if I'm speaking out of turn or incorrectly, but I think it just really comes down to the fact that the rights to the first movie are jointly held between MGM and Universal, and just sorting that out, we'll all grow old and die.
Well,
So
I'm personally glad it didn't happen, because I couldn't imagine another Chucky movie without Jennifer. Or really, and I don't know. I haven't even watched the trailer, but I really hope that we see Billy Boyd again soon. So.
You haven't watched the trailer?
I don't want to know.
You haven't watched the Lego version of the Cult of Chucky trailer?
I grew up on sites like Bloody Disgusting and IMDb message boards, and movies got spoiled like Saw endings. And you know what? I just want to go into the theater and I want to have fun. I know if it's a Chucky movie, I know if y'all are involved, I'm gonna have fun. So I'm ready to do it.
Wise. That sounds wise.
But yes, you right there. Is it the biggest ever? How about we narrow that down to a more generic version?
Yes, it is the biggest
ever. Is it the goriest?
Absolutely.
The script was terrifying. And I haven't seen the movie yet, but I'm sure the movie is terrifying too.
Randy, is it terrifying?
Yeah, it's gonna get, dude. Every horror movie gets an unrated. Even PG-13 movies get unrated versions. Come on,
Randy.
Don said we have to make this the goriest movie yet, and I will say it's a very serious movie.
Why would you say it has to be the most goriest?
It's just to scratch an itch, basically. I just like,
just blood everywhere.
And the weird thing about it is, I don't want to give too much away, but there's a lot of destruction to the human head in the new movie. And as we were doing it, it's just like one actor after another had to get their head cast. And just
head
like,
smashed actor number 4.
And I'm like, what does this say about me? I think it's probably something about aging. Something about aging and rot or something.
It's psychologically terrifying, because it's sort of like, really horrible movies like The Exorcist or The Shining. A lot of the terror is in your mind and not knowing what is going to happen next. So, and then there's the brief enjoyable moment, and that would be when Tiffany shows up. It's always fun. But there's so much tension. It takes place in an insane asylum. Some people are crazy, some people are not crazy, and it's snowing. I'm trying to think of things that I can say about the movie.
It was 40 below.
Mm-hmm.
What?
We shot 40 below.
And
we shot
Andy Barclay
a
comes back.
whole and Andy Barclay comes
Yes.
back. Yes.
Not the Justin Whalen one.
No, the Alex Vincent.
No, I actually, okay, you know what? I am going to ask one little thing. Generic question. Please tell me there's more of Jennifer in Cult than there was in Curse.
Absolutely. Way more of Jennifer in Cult than there was in Curse.
All right,
I had stuff to do. I get to use my acting ability. I'm very happy about
Do
that.
we answer the question?
I think so.
Like we go off track.
What's the question?
That's right. What was it was something about Cult, right?
But I think...
Oh, body count. Yes. Body count higher than ever. More gore. Yes.
I see a timid
And more
hand
gun.
way over there. Yes.
Yes.
You in the purple shirt, or is it white? What color is it? Gray. You.
It's green.
The one
It's
with the
blue.
hand.
It's
Yes.
red. Wow. I don't know. I mean...
Oh, I think there's going to be a brief break so everybody can buy popcorn and go to the bathroom. And then we're going to show the second movie.
Well,
Is that
actually,
right?
it's actually part 5.
Yes.
But no. Let's do one more question if someone has it. I'm at Brandon. Brandon, do you have Vons?
I
Yes.
don't remember much.
Brandon Oliver. His Facebook profile picture is Chucky. So
I do know I'm Japanese. I had a terrible
I love
childhood.
sushi. I love sushi. Brandon Oliver. Yes. That's a good question. And to add to that, David, did you think that Curse should have gone theatrical? Because I do personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think we strongly felt that, and it was frustrating.
Do we feel that about the new one, David?
We absolutely feel that.
Is
about
is
the
there
new one
is
as
there
well.
any hope of like limited LA, New York, Houston kind of release on Cult? you know, any sort of theatrical?
I don't think there
Even after coming off of the success of Curse?
Even.
Man.
I just want to say that Cult of Chucky was so well received that Fright Fest
Curse.
decided what? What's
we
the
talking about
last-
Curse or
Cult?
Cult?
No, talking about Cult. Fright Fest made it their opening film because they loved it so much. It's a phenomenal film. I just want to say that there's a whole new landscape of movies being released out there. Like my sister was in a movie that was a Brad Pitt movie that was released on Netflix. It never made the theater. It's sometimes amazing movies get released straight to DVD because the studios... It's the studio's way. That's where they think it might be most profitable. And, you know, like I said, they think like, I don't know what they're thinking. Cult should be in a big, on a giant screen. Okay.
You can see it on a big screen in London. If
in
you come to
London, if you can travel to London, but that is all sold out.
Though there's one
As well.
ticket left.
One
Yes.
ticket left.
One ticket. No.
But I think Dave and I are going to try to put together a theatrical, one screening
I
here in LA.
I would like it to be known, if you want that one theatrical, that I've already talked with the theater, and number one is actually a bigger theater. It holds 500, and I would absolutely love to host a Cult of Chucky screening a week or two before. We can offer the space for free, I think, and that would be great.
Universal would go for that. Free.
Don, expect an email.
So, was I surprised that Cult was received well? Curse, I get them mixed up. A pleasant.
You really believed in it. You were very proud. But I think the numbers just kept growing and growing on Rotten Tomatoes to 81%, I believe. So that's
For a 6 film, yeah.
Pleasant. It was awesome.
Not to take anything away from C, but I feel like there was such a positive response when Curse came back, came out, that kind of going back to, I guess, more.
Yeah, I think that the horror landscape has evolved to a place where the fans wanted something more straightforwardly scary after the comedy that we'd done with Bride and Seed. But tastes change. I mean, they're constantly evolving. I hope we get to do a musical one of these days.
No, you should get what's his name to have a figure skating and have it on ice. Chucky on ice.
Chucky on ice.
No, all right, guys. The thing is I gave you my speech in the beginning, guys. I do this for free. I love these movies. I love these people. I'm still can't believe David Kirschner's here. I'm so excited. It's like I said, it's nice. It's nice to believe in someone when you grow up. You live in a small town, Louisiana. You're bullied. You're beaten. And you look at the stars, and to know that Jen is just a sweetheart and a doll, literally, and Don is just the guy that you hoped you would be, it's unbelievable, and I want to thank all of you for being here, for buying a ticket, supporting me, supporting them, supporting the Chinese theater. We all dream to have our movie premiere here one day, right? Well, I feel like I'm getting closer thanks to all of you. So. I think you want to sign right here.